будь ласка, свої місця. Через 3 хвилини ми розпочинаємо. Займайте, будь ласка, свої місця. Ми розпочинаємо через 2 хвилини.
Good afternoon, everybody. Please take your seats so that we can start.
Перша українська,
Остань.
друга на Україні.
Good afternoon again, and welcome to this Ukraine Innovation and Opportunity event, which the World Bank Group and the UkraineInvest are co-hosting today. The World Bank Group is celebrating its 25 years of partnership with Ukraine in this year. And we were wondering, how should we celebrate that? And we decided that instead of doing pretty boring presentations about what the World Bank has done in Ukraine in the past 25 years, the appropriate way to celebrate our long and continued partnership in the past quarter of a century is to look forward, is to focus on the tremendous potential and opportunity that Ukraine has. So what we are going to do today, we are going to basically showcase and celebrate innovation in Ukraine. We are going to celebrate young innovators and entrepreneurs who will be the people who will build the Ukraine during the next 25 years. So we want to focus on the future. But before we turn to them, and before I turn to our two very special and distinguished guests that we have with us today, I'm going to take you on a short trip down the memory lane. I'm going to show you a video that our team in the World Bank prepared, which is going to showcase what road Ukraine has gone through 25 years. How did Ukraine get to the point where we are today? Enjoy.
Modern Ukraine was born in 1991. The country had huge potential thanks to its educated population, rich natural resources, and a developed industrial base. But the first half of the 1990s was chaotic. Ukraine did not have the political unity to smoothly transition to an open market economy. Unlike the Baltic states, for example, Ukraine could not benefit from the EU accession to attract foreign direct investment and support much-needed reforms. At the same time, the privatization of state-owned enterprises was undermined by the widespread stripping of assets and the emergence of oligarchs. Before long, the economy collapsed and inflation skyrocketed. Ordinary citizens experienced incredible hardship, including high unemployment and declining life expectancy. Emigration took place on a massive scale.
My parents going to work and they not getting paid for month. Even when they did get paid, buying something like food or clothing was practically impossible because prices could double just in 2 days.
Unbearable lines, queues in the stores to get butter, let's say, or even bread sometimes. It was really hard to find a good piece of cloth, something which was not used yet.
The introduction of a monetary and fiscal stabilization plan helped bring inflation down from 7,000% to 16% by 1997. A new national currency, the hryvnia, was introduced. After a tumultuous decade, Ukraine began the 2000s with a wider adoption of market economy rules. The country developed its services sector and began improving agricultural production. But critical reforms remained on standby, privatization stalled, and many assets remained under state control. At the same time, Ukraine benefited from large capital inflows, which led to a credit and consumption boom and rapid economic growth.
Better stuff, better clothes, better food. I had an obsession, basically, to the products that were there on the market, and I could finally reach them.
Imagine people who didn't have anything and got everything. I already worked in a car showroom. In 2007, over 500,000 new cars were sold. For example, in 2016, this number reduced to only 64,000.
These inflows made possible for Ukraine to live beyond its means, and thus, this growth proved unsustainable. Oligarchs continued to pose a major obstacle to reforming the economy and public institutions. The Orange Revolution was an attempt by citizens to fight corruption and state capture. This movement set high expectations for change, but was ultimately met with populist policies that eroded public finances. The global financial crisis of 2008 brought a sudden stop in foreign capital inflows and interrupted 9 years of economic growth, prompting a devaluation of the hryvnia and exposing deep vulnerabilities in the banking system. In November 2013, the public's widespread frustration with corruption, amplified by the government's sudden decision to back away from closer cooperation with the European Union, led to the Euromaidan revolution and ultimately to historic changes.
Over 100 people were shot by that government. It was a high price. People stood here and fought in winter cold and under the bullets for our European future. People don't die for politicians, people die for values.
Ukraine was shaken by dramatic developments, including the Crimea crisis, the outbreak of conflict in eastern Ukraine, presidential, parliamentary, and local elections. In 2014 and 2015, the economy contracted by 16% and poverty increased sharply. The people of Ukraine responded with reform and change. The new government had a clear mandate to restore peace and economic stability, solve the banking crisis, and eradicate deep-seated corruption. In 4 short years, more reforms were introduced than over the previous 2 decades. The government stabilized confidence in the economy and its public finances, began to clean up the banking and energy sectors, strengthened social safety nets, and created key institutions of anti-corruption. Today, modest economic growth has returned to Ukraine, but much more needs to be done to move from economic stabilization to lasting improvements in living standards, and to link Ukraine's inspirations and opportunities to get dynamism and economic growth. The people of Ukraine are continuing to push for irreversible change and a brighter future, and there are several reasons to remain optimistic. Improving the lives of all Ukrainians means that corruption must become a thing of the past, and equal opportunity should become the creed of the future. Ukraine, with the support of its international development partners, is working on deep structural reforms to unleash the productivity of its agricultural and service sectors, strengthen governance, and deliver effective services to the population. The European Union is now Ukraine's largest trading partner and plays an important role through a free trade agreement. The removal of state regulations on economic activity is unleashing entrepreneurial talent across the country. These are the building blocks of a brighter future for Ukraine and the Ukrainian people.
We know that Ukrainian intellectual products are very competitive all over the world.
We believe that Ukraine is well positioned to become the world's IT hub.
Ukraine is a perfect place to run a startup. We have many smart and gifted professionals. Ukraine is a fruitful platform to test new ideas.
I hope you all enjoyed that. So now that we have done our trip down the memory lane and we have come to the today, you probably noticed that some of our panelists were featured at the end of the video. I'm going to turn to our 2 distinguished speakers to formally open this event. First speaker is going to be the Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Gubiv. Unfortunately, the Prime Minister himself, something happened at the last minute and he couldn't come. The 2018 budget, government budget, is voted in Rada at the moment. And needless to say, he needs to be in Rada and not here. So we are sorry about that, but we are delighted to have Mr. Gubiv with us today. So Mr. Gubiv, floor is yours.
Шановний пане президенте, шановні пане докторе, шановні пані і панове, перш за все хочу подякувати за сьогоднішню зустріч. Перше, хочу передати найкращі вітання і вдячність Світовому банку від прем'єр-міністра України, передати вітання від уряду України за ту допомогу, яку ви давали на протязі 25 років в нашій країні. За ту практичну допомогу, за той результат, який сьогодні, відвідавши декілька виставок, можна побачити поєднання інтелекту, прогресу, конкуренції і, саме головне, відсутність корупції. Дійсно, прем'єр-міністр не міг бути по тій причині, що зараз йде розгляд бюджету 2018 року. Це теж нове вже в другий рік для України, і це важливе, де уряд повинен бути і там. За цей час Світовий банк майже 12 мільярдів спрямував на розвиток пріоритетних напрямків економіки, проведення реформ, підтримки малого і середнього бізнесу. І саме головне, в критичні моменти збалансування бюджету України. Єдність партнерства Світового банку, принципів, закладених в реформуванні міжнародних фінансових донорів, Міжнародний валютний фонд, Міжнародна фінансова корпорація, Європейський банк реконструкції і розвитку, Європейська комісія – це те, що Україну не тільки натхнуло, а дало конкретний план, операційний план, карти дій для розвитку, для проведення реформ. Я дякую за відеокліп, бо тільки доповнити можу одною цифрою. До безвізового режиму, який отримали українці, 144 законопроекти було проведено за 3 роки Верховної Ради. Це поєднання спільних дій президента, уряду і Верховної Ради. І це результат єдності і перемог тих кроків, які ми зробили. За останні 3 роки нам вдалося стабілізувати країну і перейти від кризи, яка була теж відображена в кліпі, до економічного зростання, від політики виживання. Ми говоримо сьогодні вже про політику розвитку, про політику інновацій, про політику модернізації. Ми говоримо про трьохрічне бюджетне планування. Ми говоримо сьогодні про формування макропоказників на 3 роки. Це успіх, який не був зроблений за 27 років незалежності. Після жахливого спаду макроекономічну стабільність ріст ВВП у 2-3% і відновити довіру до міжнародних партнерів – це те завдання не тільки відновлення. І ми це відновлення, зміни, реформи, законодавство ми робимо для держави Україна. А саме головне, що ми робимо для людини, для реалізації людини в якісному житті. В якісному житті від домашнього побуту до відчування безпеки на рівні держави. Це капітальний ремонт країни через модернізацію, через інновації, через реальне планування і цінності, які були різким, правильним поштовхом зміни реальної країни у 2013 році. Це виклик молоді нового покоління, яке сказало «ні», а буде для людини і для реалізації, яку, відповідно, після Майдану Революції Гідності постало питання перед новим урядом, перед президентом і перед парламентом. Можливі сьогоднішні реформи, які ми провели і в газовому секторі, і в банківському, дерегуляція, децентралізація, антикорупційні реформи, завдяки підтримці міжнародних партнерів. І тут важливе місце в стратегії, в розвитку, фінансових інструментах, збалансованості бюджету, розумінні стратегії і тактики відіграє Світовий банк. І відігравав в минулому найскладніші часи для нашої держави. Проте ми не зупиняємося і ми розуміємо, що ріст ВВП 2-3% – це не цей ріст, де можна довго очікувати на зміни. Ми говоримо про відсотки 5, 7, 8%. Ми говоримо про перейти до інтенсивного росту ВВП і створені для того потрібно робочі місця. Ми повинні створити умови, ми повинні побороти корупцію, ми повинні чітко побудувати операційну стратегію, яка властива для нашого уряду і, відповідно, затверджена в парламенті України. Щоб відповісти викликам світової економіки 21 століття, ми розуміємо, що зміна управління, якісного управління, інновації і модернізація – це ті фактори і ця дорога, якою ми повинні йти. Але перш за все, це людина, освічена людина і повага до людини. Повага до її свобод, повага до людини як найвищого, ціннісного, можливого, реального вкладу її в суспільні відносини і зміни, які проходять. Для побудови інноваційної екосистеми дуже важлива сучасна освіта. Тому ми прийняли реформу освітню, і ми говоримо сьогодні про ще 2 важливі реформи. Це медична і це пенсійна. І я дякую пану президенту, пану доктору сьогодні при зустрічі з прем'єр-міністром, де було чітко дані оцінки проведення цих реформ. Це системні реформи, які ніхто не очікував за 27 років, що вони будуть зроблені. І сьогодні ми говоримо про те, що інновації і можливості, модернізація і інновації. А це реальний факт, який сьогодні відповідає сучасній історії нашої держави. Україна сьогодні перебуває в процесі формування виробництва, але ми говоримо про виробництво на базі інновацій і модернізації, а разом із тим ми говоримо про додаткову вартість, про якість додаткової вартості. І ми говоримо про відкриту конкуренцію, про можливості від приватних підприємців, базового малого і середнього бізнесу і включаючи до великих корпорацій, які сьогодні теж властиві для нашої держави. Розвиток індустрії 4.0 в Україні ґрунтується, перш за все, на основі людського капіталу. Україна є одним із світових лідерів в галузі високотехнологічного інженірингу. Ми говоримо про талановиті люди і ми говоримо про родючі землі. Ми говоримо те, що інновації, інвестиції, IT показало Україну як одною з найкращих в котуванні світового рівня. Ми говоримо про 5 тисяч IT-компаній. Ми говоримо більше 100 тисяч людей, які займаються в даній індустрії. Ми говоримо сьогодні не про вибір, а ми говоримо сьогодні про систему, реально працюючи не тільки в Україні, а в цілому світі. Це надзвичайний людський капітал і технологічні досягнення, стратегічне вигідне розташування, велика кількість багатих родючих сільськогосподарських земель. Сьогодні в Україні розвиваються інноваційні продукти за рішеннями в сфері аграрного бізнесу. Ми сьогодні говоримо про ведення новотехнологічного аграрного бізнесу. Ми сьогодні говоримо про екобізнес в аграрному бізнесі. Ми говоримо про ефективне використання енергії, агропромислових технологій і наукових досліджень. Ми говоримо про поєднання талановитих людей і родючих земель. Разом з тим хочу сказати, що уряд всіляко підтримує інноваційну діяльність. Нам потрібно створити в Україні замкнуту екосистему підтримки інвестицій і інновацій. Деякі з механізмів сприяння такої системи вже є. Це Офіс залучення підтримки інвестицій, це і Рада підтримки інновацій. Ми вперше у проєкті бюджету 2018 року заклали фінансування фонду підтримки інновацій 50 мільйонів гривень. Ми розуміємо, що це небагато. Ми розуміємо, що це старт. Але ми розуміємо, що це хороший початок і велика перспектива. Кабінет міністрів, прем'єр-міністр Володимир Гройсман визначили пріоритети інноваційної діяльності на 17-21 роки. Вони включають 7 стратегічних напрямків. Це напрямки загальнодержавного рівня по освоєнню нових технологій в таких сферах, як енергетика, авіасудно і ракетобудування, нанотехніка, агропромисловість, медицина, фармацевтика, охорона навколишнього середовища і робототехніка. Я хочу сказати, що підписання угод і реальна реалізація програм зони вільної торгівлі з Канадою, з Європейським Союзом показали сьогодні можливості і реальну конкуренцію України. Це показало те, що Україна на базі інновацій, інвестицій, модернізації, з прекрасним інтелектом людського капіталу, освіченістю наших людей, можливістю і підтримкою українців, яких є більше у світі, ніж 20 мільйонів за межами України. Поєднання єдиного народу, 65 мільйонів, відкриває нові можливості, нові перспективи і нові перемоги. Я переконаний, що наша держава завдяки нашим працьовитим людям, завдяки нашій прекрасній молоді, яка сформувала нове покоління 25 років, буде успішною і завжди буде відмічати свої успіхи і перемоги. Я дякую вам.
Mr. Deputy Prime Minister, now I have a special pleasure to introduce the President of the World Bank Group, Dr. Jim Kim. He's visiting Ukraine for 2 days. This is his second day, and I'm delighted that he is here today with us to celebrate Ukraine and also celebrate our past 25 years and also help us to look into the future. Jim, over to you.
Thank you, Satu. It's such a great pleasure and privilege for me to be here. You know, being here today in the Ukraine makes me think about my own path. Many of you may not know, I was born in the Republic of Korea in Seoul in 1959. And in 1959, Korea was one of the poorest countries in the world. Korea was so poor that the World Bank would not give a loan even to Korea. So there were very few countries that were so poor that the World Bank wouldn't give them a loan. Korea was one of them. The first loan that Korea received was in 1962 when I was just 3 years old living in Seoul. And there came a critical moment in the history of the Republic of Korea. It was a question of which direction would they go. The southern half of the Korean peninsula was mostly agricultural. They didn't have as much black soil as Ukraine, but the basis of the economy was agriculture. Only about 20% of the people in Korea were literate, could read and write, and less than 5% had university educations. Korea was an extremely poor country. But in 1968, the Koreans decided that for their second loan from the World Bank, they would take a loan to improve the educational system. Now, at that time in in the World Bank, this was scoffed at. People said, "What are you doing? You people are crazy. Investing in health and education now is what they called social overhead." They didn't think that it was the right thing to do. They thought the thing to do would be to invest in hard infrastructure like roads and energy. But Korea persisted. Korea understood that its path to development was going to be through its people. And so long before the World Bank thought they should invest in their people, they invested heavily in health, in education. Korea now has some of the top scores in the world on the OECD's PISA tests. And their path to economic development has been through large conglomerates, but also now innovation and entrepreneurship. I believe that Ukraine is at one of those critical moments in its history. The reform agenda has been extremely inspiring, and it took a lot of courage for the Deputy Prime Minister, for the Prime Minister, for President Poroshenko. It took a lot of courage to get through these last 3 years, and more reforms have happened in the last 3 years than in the previous 20 years. But this is truly a critical moment. Now we are left with the difficult reforms. Now we're left with a land market reform that is going to be politically difficult, but absolutely critical for the future of the Ukraine. And perhaps the most important, and also perhaps the most difficult, is the establishment of the independent and anti-corruption court. Now, there's so much that's been done. NABU and SAPU have been formed. I met with the heads of those two organizations while I was here. But in order for the entrepreneurs in this room to have the access to the capital, to the markets, to the trust of the global community that you need, this is the next step that just simply has to be taken. Now, I've been so impressed with the leaders, with the young people, with the civil society organization that I've met, that I'm here now feeling very optimistic that it will happen. But it won't happen unless the people of Ukraine demand that it happen. You know, I was very, very moved to be at Maidan Square and to see that 100 people lost their lives in order to fight for the future of the Ukraine. And it gave me a very strong sense of what Ukrainian people are all about. But then I heard more stories. Not only did 1 million people come out to express their solidarity with those who had fallen, but to express their demand that the future of Ukraine be protected. But I also heard that some of the people who were part of the crackdown, the protesters created a safe space so that they would not be hurt and they would have safe passage out of the area where the demonstrations were happening. This is such an extraordinary show of character that I'm certain that the people in this room and the people that I've met are ready to take this next step. Now, the First Vice Minister talked about an ecosystem. And one of the things I've learned in traveling all over the world is that in order to give the right encouragement, the right inputs for entrepreneurs, you need to build the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem. Some of the best ones in the world, of course, Silicon Valley is a great one, but maybe the most strategically formed ecosystem in the world today is Israel. And in Israel, the government, the universities, and the private sector have come together to create an extraordinary ecosystem that is creating more new companies per capita than any other country in the world. And I just met one group that's actually working with Israeli entrepreneurs. We stand ready to work with the government, with the private sector, with universities, to help create the kind of ecosystem that will allow Ukrainians, and especially Ukrainian young people, to fill out their aspirations. You know, technology is a wonderful thing, and I see things here. But if you look at those drones, right, it's just like what the government faces. You can put all the pieces of the drones together, but at the end of the day, it's got to fly. You've got to take that last step, and this is the opportunity for the government of Ukraine, along with all its citizens, to take this last step. Now, we have made a huge bet on all of you. We have made a huge bet on the people of the Ukraine. We've gone past our usual limits in terms of lending to Ukraine, and we're even today looking for more ways that we can invest even more in the people of Ukraine, because we believe in the revolution of dignity. We believe in what you're doing. Right? But it's the most important thing is for the citizens of Ukraine to hold its leaders accountable and to hold organizations like the World Bank accountable. The future, I think, will be extremely bright for Ukraine. 1/3 of all the black soil on earth is here in Ukraine. A vibrant culture, a people that are willing to stand in solidarity with each other, even under the threat of death. And finally, a vision for the future that will not only motivate and move people in the Ukraine, but that will be a signal, a sign, a beacon of hope for the entire world. I'm so glad to be here. Congratulations to the entrepreneurs. Congratulations to the reform as it's come this far. Let's take it to the next step and create the future that we all now can see for Ukraine. Thank you.
Ukraine Now, Innovation and Opportunity. The purpose of this investor briefing is to give you a clear picture of opportunities in Ukraine now. With 45 million people, Ukraine represents one of the largest emerging markets in Europe. Ukraine is transformation. According to the World Bank, since 2010, Ukraine has done more to improve its business climate than any post-communist country in Europe. Ukraine continues to adopt thousands of EU standards yearly as it continues its integration into European institutions. Ukraine's greatest assets are its brains and grains. The nation has a long history of innovation, including the design, development, and manufacture of the world's largest aircraft. In 2017, Bloomberg ranked Ukraine as one of the world's most innovative countries. Ukraine is known for its highly skilled technicians and R&D. Global players are already harnessing Ukrainian innovation in aerospace, science, technology, robotics, artificial intelligence, and IT. Ukraine is the Silicon Step of Europe. In just 5 years, the IT industry has grown from the size of a postage stamp to become the nation's third largest export and one of the world's most important outsourcing centers. Innovation technology informs all of Ukraine's sectors of opportunity. Key sector opportunities include manufacturing, agri-food, energy, infrastructure, and creative industries. With over 30% of all arable land in Europe, Ukraine will continue to be a major player in securing the world's food supply. country is approaching energy self-sufficiency. Indeed, with one of the world's most favorable green tariffs, solar, wind, and other alternate energy investors are flocking in to take advantage of the opportunities offered by Ukraine's renewable energy sector. Kyiv is no more than 3 hours flying time from almost all European capitals, making it an ideal logistics and transport hub. Ukraine is literally buzzing with innovation and opportunity. Visit Ukraine now by starting at UkraineInvest.com. UkraineInvest is your investment opportunity partner. Welcome to Ukraine. Вітаємо!
Доброго дня, шановне товариство. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Bilek. I'm the director of UkraineInvest and the Prime Minister's advisor on investments. And it's my pleasure, it's a pleasure of UkraineInvest to be co-hosting this event with the World Bank. It's a deep privilege. I'm very happy that all of you came here. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to keep this moving quickly. I hope you like our banner, our screen here. I came in here yesterday, and there was still Europe was on that thing, and then they carved it out for the screen, and we lost Ukraine. But then I noticed that Ukraine Innovation and Opportunity goes across the Russian landmass, and I guess I took some comfort from that. You know, if we can do it, you know, maybe there's hope for them too. What I want to do is introduce our panel here, who's been sitting so patient and quietly. The format for today's event is the following. This is going to be an interactive discussion among our panelists, including Vice Prime Minister Kubiev and Dr. Kim. We have Daria Losova from MyHelix, Artem Belenkov from Smart Farming, Olya Hilobok from Nimsys, and Mykola Fastovats from Expo Platform. And these are all startups. They're in different fields. They represent different aspects of Ukraine's opportunity. And they also represent what I believe really is the future. We at UkraineInvest are going to be putting a lot of emphasis in 2018, as Vice Prime Minister Kubiev has said, as the Prime Minister has repeated, exactly on this issue, on the innovation and the opportunities. Because they really, you will find, I hope, at the end of this session, that what these people are involved in cut across all of the key sectors of opportunity that were mentioned by our previous panelists. So in order not to spend a lot of time, what we've asked is that each of them prepare a very short, up to 2-minute video about who they are, so they don't have to explain that. We will have 4 blocks of questions, but everybody can participate, and we encourage our guests to also comment, participate, free-flow discussion, so basically I won't have to do anything. And we'll keep this moving along, and at the end, hopefully, we'll have some time for questions. And so the first block that we're going to discuss is, it'll be a question that I will pose to Daria. The first block will be R&D. Where is all of this innovation? Where is all of it coming from? Maybe.
Do you think mackerel is just fish? It's a longevity bomb for your body, especially for those who need Yena's gene to be activated. So inspired by possibilities of genomics at university, we started working together with Ruslana and unite professionals from creative field, IT and biotech. Thus, we met Sasha.
Hello, I'm a service designer. Together, we created MyHelix, a DNA testing company that makes genomics closer to people.
Our mission is to help people to consume the healthiest food according to their genetics. With this in mind, we have launched 2 initial products in Ukraine.
Our next goal is to make food selection easy as it should be. That's why we created Hungry Genome app. You just push feed your genes button and you will get mapped with the meal spot which are healthiest according to your genetics.
Thank you, Daria.
Yeah, so, the shortest video.
So, well, no, it's not the shortest. I think there's one that's shorter. But so you're marrying genetics and nutrition. Does this mean Salo and Vareniki are Ukrainians are the only genetically programmed people to consume this, or what are we missing in this?
Yeah,
and how did you get interested in this? Where did your R&D come from? What's the source of your inspiration to do this? Are there universities? Is it clusters? Is it something you read on the internet?
Okay, so actually, I think that the main inspiration is from my family, and because I am from the doctor's family, and I joined the university, and I'm a geneticist, and right now I'm a PhD candidate. So I was like, from my childhood, I was inspired by genetics. That's why I'm doing what I do.
It's in your genes, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask?
For sure.
What if all the food that's right for your genes you don't like?
So we will give you a lot of food to selection, so you can choose what you like, and that will be the most healthiest for you. Yeah, so it's not one product. Okay. Don't be worried. So actually, we are looking for the genes that help to consume vitamins, minerals, etc. And according to these, a person understands what exactly will be the healthiest for personal.
So when do you take the inspiration, okay, from your family, but educationally, is it something that you learned in school, that you worked with other people towards? I mean, how do you get the critical mass of people together to do a startup in genetic nutrition?
Yeah,
if I can call it that.
Of course, the next step was university, and I found the right people here. So this is my colleague's friend and partner, Ruslana, and we were like it's our first team from 2 people, and we decided that we need to do the genetic service here in Ukraine because we don't have any. And after that, so we are so inspired about our idea that we start to find a lot of more people, and especially I was studied at Kyiv-Mohyla Academy, and then I continued and finished in the National University of Taras Shevchenko. And this is a great collaboration because the ecosystem of these 2 universities help us to find the team members right now. So
you have an ecosystem that actually circulates within the existing university system?
I think that depends on the people, students that enjoy that university.
Oh, so you do it despite your teachers?
Not exactly.
What happens when you start eating according to your genome? Do people feel better? Is there an immediate impact that people can experience?
Yeah, so it will not be immediately effect, but you will see that in the future because this is like the prevention of disease. For example, if the person have the low some variants of genes that without a healthy food, and nutrition, they could get some diseases. For example, osteoporosis or heart diseases, etc. And when we do, so we see the DNA as a strong and a heavy part of yourself and of your organism. And after that, when you see these parts, you can just see what you can prove by your nutrition. Because as you know, 70% of all diseases are diet related, and we help to be healthier and live longer.
Я хочу вам перше подякувати, а сказати за всіх аксіому, яке прекрасне покоління за роки незалежності.
Дякую. Дякую.
Друге, дуже важливе є, і я хочу подякувати директору і пану доктору Світового банку, що здорова нація – це велика, успішна Україна. І третє важливе питання. Чітко було сказано, що родина лікарів, ми говоримо про передачу максимальних знань, цінностей в родинному сімейному колі. Ми говоримо не тільки про ідентичність, а ми говоримо про найкраще нове, яке впроваджується. І третє, що Україна, яка відновила незалежність, має можливість інтегрованості і освіт, і інформацію зі світу в Україні. Оце поєднання цього чиннику, а саме головне інше – це прекрасний людський потенціал, бажання вчитися і підтвердження. Щорік ми маємо 130 тисяч інженерів, вузи випускають, і 15 тисяч представників IT. І це говоримо про майбутній великий старт нашої держави. Дякую.
Тобто, Дар'я, треба їсти сало чи не треба їсти сало?
Все залежить від того, які у вас гени.
Ну, я йду до вас на тестування.
І яке сало?
Яке сало?
Яке сало?
What is your experience, the other members of the panel? I mean, let's take this to a higher level. Daria talked about an ecosystem within her university. Is that your experience? I mean, in the areas that you've started working in, is this something was that the start of where you got your ideas and where you started developing? Is the education system meeting those demands or not meeting the demands in your businesses?
In my case, the story was not from university. I worked in financial market. So basically we were trading options and futures and all the derivatives, and we're selling some hedging strategies to our clients. And one day we thought that it would be good to sell those products to agribusiness in Ukraine. So we had a lot of work to do in those cases, and 1 year passed and we had 0 sales in that direction. And actually that was the situation when I saw this gap between the technologies in financial sector and technologies in agriculture. So I think it was not from agricultural background, it was because of this financial analytical mind that I saw the potential in closing that gap, and basically I went to the staff and tried to create my company and to do a business in this case.
So the first year set you up for a great second year, right? You could only do better. Did you grow quickly then after that?
What?
Did you grow quickly after the first year?
It's a long story.
It usually is.
I couldn't have shrunk.
I will tell. I will answer the question when I will be my.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. You're up next anyway. So.
Well, from what I hear from Dasha and Artem, that's about what goes in my mind. It's all about the itching mind. It's all about finding crazy people around you who are so crazy that they believe they can make people upload the app which will say which genes are suitable for which products. That feels crazy.
Some people don't want to know the answer to that.
Of course not. And my granny thinks that everybody needs to eat sala and milk, and that's the tragedy of my childhood.
I like your granny. I like your granny.
And that is like my PhD supervisor said once to me, a smart kid will find everything she or he wants anywhere, at any educational institution or school, or even without it. So it's just about believing in something meaningful and being so devoted to the idea that you can bring it to life and make it a successful startup or business out of it. That's it.
Mikita, you've educated in Ukraine, in the United States, and you did a PhD in computer vision and machine learning. I mean, I don't even know what that is. At Cambridge. So, I mean, what is there a failing in the educational system in any one of those countries, or do they mutually reinforce each other, or how do you get to be where you are?
Well, so my story is pretty lengthy, so I don't think I should tell you the whole story.
You're going to give us the Reader's Digest version.
Yeah, so the lowdown is...
Nobody reads that anymore.
When the situation in Ukraine was not so great, my family kind of emigrated to the US, and my father found a job in IT, and then from there on, I kind of finished my education in the States, then I moved out to France to kind of do a master's degree, then I tried to come back to Ukraine with this education, and I found that actually the opportunities that were available at that time were probably inferior to the opportunities that were available in the Western world. So then I went on to do a PhD at the University of Surrey, actually, in computer vision.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean
That's
to
okay. When I was doing that, when I was working on that, I actually met the co-founder of Expo Platform. So our story is a little bit different from everyone here, which is normal for a startup. Everyone's got their own story. But the idea for the company came from actual industry need. So the co-founder, Tanya, she had about 14 years experience in the industry at that point. And she saw that there was a huge gap in the market for software. And I guess when we get to my point, I'll tell you a little bit more about why what we're doing is important. But we actually came together as a company that's got a focused product that targets a specific gap and found a problem in the market, basically.
Let's go to the...
Yeah, so basically, when we talk about R&D, we're talking about finding those niches, finding the right people, and the education system needs to give you the basic tools in order for you to find those niches and those gaps. Okay, let's do the next video. This is for Artem's smart farming. It's not that bad. I saw it. It's okay.
Світ змінюється. Технології стрімко розвиваються та проникають у всі сфери нашого життя. Технології змінюють бізнес-середовище та формують нові правила гри. Навіть такі консервативні галузі, як сільське господарство, стоять на порозі великих змін. Адже сьогодні найбільша цінність створюється не на полі і навіть не на заводах. Вона створюється у технологічних парках та R&D-центрах. Це Unit City – технологічний парк у Києві. А це Smart Farming – компанія, в якій я працюю. Нас 20 однодумців, і ми впроваджуємо інноваційні рішення в компаніях, які обробляють більше 3 мільйонів гектар.
So, Artem, tell me, I mean, we're talking here about, you mentioned before this gap between what was technologically available in the financial services and what you found in ag. Was ag so far back in terms of its IT or its ag tech understanding that we're like talking plowshares, or was this sort of a marriage of minds at a certain point? I mean, how did the market accept your ideas? Was it you selling your ideas, or were you responding to a demand?
Generally, it seems very easy. So you think that you have a product, you see the market demand, and it should match, and you get the money, the acceptance, all that stuff. But from the practical point of view, it was a bit different. So we thought that we understand the product, that we understand the market. And actually, when we went to agribusiness with our ideas, we didn't get that feedback, positive feedback from them. And it took 1 year for us to get, I think, all the fails that we could get. We made all the mistakes that we could. And we understood the problem of the local market and global market. So the first one, in Ukraine, we have very low level of education in terms of agriculture. We have a low level of understanding the technologies. And we didn't have, at that point, any infrastructure that could help us to make marketing, promotion, get financing, get to the clients. So basically, we've tried to do it and to build it by our own. And for 3 years, we were trying new partnerships, trying to make new products, to sell new projects, and to educate our clients, to educate the market. And I think only on the 4th year, we get that acceptance. But we get it through, firstly, we get huge projects. So we have project with MHP, one of the biggest agricultural holdings in Ukraine, and we are building land management system. And this project is the biggest one on post-Soviet Union territory, so it's huge enough, it's 400,000 hectares. And I think with that project, we go through, we get the name, we get the huge company behind us, and we get the experience, the knowledge, and through that, we get that acceptance. So I think to get that, you should work hard, be patient, and be a bit of lucky.
So you were basically going to them with an idea that they didn't know they needed until you started explaining to them what you were doing. They went, oh my gosh, this could be something terrific for us, right?
Not something terrific. I think that first 20 projects, they were not successful, actually. So we sold.
Was that a management deficit or was it a technology deficit?
It was management deficit in our company. It was management deficit in clients' companies. It was the.
That's very Ukrainian.
Yes,
okay.
so it was general understanding of what first product we were trying to sell instruments. You know, we were trying to give them something to change something by themselves. Then we understood that we need to go deeper and to understand their business processes, how they work. So we went to something like business analytics. We were trying to understand their business processes, how do they work, so who is responsible for what, and then understand how we can change their business. So as for now, in terms of consulting business and all that services, all of our products, almost all of them are like, you know, tailor-made. So it's like very individual to the client because all the companies, they're different style, different processes, different management style, background. So I think that differs. But as for today, I think the new companies, new startups, they have, it's much easier for them to get to the market because we have basic infrastructure now. We have AgroHub project, we have Agritech unit, we have AgTech Ukraine Association. So we have this marketing infrastructure and channels to the client. The clients get educated.
And this is all within the last how many years?
Last 1-2 years, yes.
Last 1-2 years.
Artem, let me ask you. So what we've heard is that there is undervaluation of land in Ukraine and that there's underinvestment. The implications of land market reform could be pretty major for you, right?
We are waiting for it. So it's like, what we see that this reform, it would give the market huge investments. When the companies will get investment, they will need to scale, to go to the new markets, to improve their operations. They will compete much more for the land. So the market will be healthier, and all the companies that work for this market, they will get more clients, more money. So it's like.
So for you, during the moratorium, you were able to build your business. But right now is the time for land market reform. You see, right now is the time for land market reform. I'm staying on message, that too. I mean, this is my.
What do you really mean?
Я хочу сказати дуже важливих три тези. Перша теза, що Україна має всі шанси бути світовим лідером по екологічній і по переробній галузі сільського господарства. Будучи на різних інвестиційних форумах, які ми були і в Канаді, у Сполучених Штатах Америки, у Європі, будь-який контракт України з Канадою чи з Америкою, ми стаємо в галузі зернових, наприклад, номер 1. Але ми говоримо про переробку, технології, освіченість і культуру проведення. Другий аспект дуже важливий. Наша земля не отруєна тими хімікатами і з точки зору органіки, і з точки зору органічних продуктів, чистих продуктів, ми маємо теж можливість велику. І третє, це виклик світу через 20-25 років. Це прісна вода і продукти. От саме якраз вибір, включаючи і стратегії Світового банку, коли ми говоримо про перспективу розвитку, ми маємо всі шанси. Ви приклад бути успішним, і це важливо. І аплікація бути успішними, і в результаті держава успішна. Дякую.
I have a follow-up question for you, because is your technologies and the kind of services that you provide, given the fact that they're tailor-made, are they mostly designed to serve the needs of large agro-holdings, or can they also be adapted to smaller land holdings of 100, 200 hectares? Because that's an important implication for land market reform, because that's going to be the initial sort of quotas that are going to be on the table.
When we started our company, so we were trying to get to the biggest companies. So we thought that this is like Klondike, so we will get money there and we could grow working with such companies. But when we started working with them, we understood that it's not the best client. It's very hard. So big companies, so all that procedures, so budgeting, all that stuff, communication is very hard. So that's why we changed the model, and now we work with any type of companies. So small ones, medium-sized, huge companies, we have different. And as for today, basically with huge companies, we work not like with clients, more like with partners. So some R&D, some consulting services, we consult them. Sometimes we take consultations from them in our project. So it's like, and they got they educated during the years. So 4 years ago, you could sell any type of project, like with PDF presentation showing like anything on the window. But as for today, MHP starts, actually today is the start of their acceleration program. Kernel started last year their digital agribusiness program. Astarta started AgroCore project to build like huge software. And I think that's why today it's much easier for startups and companies to go through this infrastructure and to get projects.
Well, that's interesting.
So but I mean, because your software plus drones, you could use kind of an Airbnb model, right? That many smallholder farmers could share the hardware, and then it's on their smartphones. That seems like the model, right? So it should be affordable to just about anybody. Right?
We want to use this model in terms of...
Don't start lowering his prices.
No. I'm negotiating on behalf of smallholder farmers. You should make sure that they have access to this technology, because that's how it could really grow and you get strong support.
We have an idea to get to the global market with service model is very hard, because every market has some specific features, and Asia and Europe, it's small farmers, like United States, Canada, Argentina, Brazil, Russia, Ukraine, Australia. It's huge markets, different types of markets. So to go global, we need to match almost like all of the key needs of these markets. And what we started this year and what we will push the next year, it's like big data and machine learning project in terms of mapping and analyzing all that mapping data from drones, satellites, operations done in the field. And this is where we see the change of our service model. So we need the data so we can sell services at our cost just to get that data to make our algorithms. So that's why we will change a bit of market structure with these services.
We're going to have to move on, but а ви хотіли коментувати?
Взагалі, якщо подивитися в перспективу моделі українського господарювання, то саме акцент малих і середніх фермів, про що ви говорите, це є перспектива. І з якості, і швидкості формування ринку як такого. І коли ринок буде відкритий і технологічно конкурентний, буде реально. Наприклад, якщо взяти 2 роки тому, і минулий рік, і цей рік, то навіть підтримка агробізнесу в цілому бюджеті 7,3 мільярда 2 роки тому було в 3 рази менше. Ми говоримо про пріоритет, про акцент. Але для цього повинна бути системна реформа, навчання, організація, технологія і використання, те, що говорите, IT-системних, програмних, допоміжних продуктів.
We were discussing earlier today in your meeting with the Prime Minister about the notion of lessons learned and things like that. And given the scale of agriculture and the scale of the opportunities that Artem and companies like his are pursuing, this could be something perhaps could be lessons learned from Ukraine adopted to some of the other countries that you're working with, especially the adaptation of mobile telephones, tablets, and things like that. So it's not just a one-way street. I mean, there's lots that there are very few countries that have the scale of agriculture where you have companies that control 100,000, 200, 300,000 hectares of land in which you can actually learn a lot of different things from that can be applied in different contexts.
You know, there's a whole concept. When I grew up in Iowa, one of the places in the United States that has also a lot of black soil. And the agricultural extension workers were everywhere. But it was person-to-person contact. Mm-hmm. And you have the opportunity to turn that kind of agricultural extension knowledge and information and put it on the smartphone with much more specific data from your drones. And so this is a way to leapfrog, generations of person-to-person practice with things online. I think it's great potential.
So Artem, you can
Tomasz, have we invested in these guys? Not yet.
There you go.
Not yet. Okay.
Artem, there you go. You're the only person in Ukraine that's been bid down by the president of the World Bank. Congratulations. Next video, please. I'm afraid that not anyone can run the numbers because you lost me, I think, at the first number. Ola, that's... I know a little bit about your company. I'm not even going to begin to explain it. But it's a fascinating story. And if you can explain to us in a very, very concise way, how is it that how did you come up with the concept that everybody's life has a value attached to it, and every minute of your life has a value?
Yeah.
You'll understand in a minute when she explains it.
I'm not promising that. As long as that is not a pitch, and I'm not going to try to explain the concept to you, I'm just going to give you the feeling of the scale of how big is the idea and what it can do. Basically, I've showed you the video, which was not planned to be shown, but it suits perfectly well, because basically it shows the Earth, which is a mess. Right now it is. I know, I think you believe that too. And in order to keep that mess spinning, you need to have two variables. That's human time and human life. Once you have human time and human life, everything is okay. And just imagine what happens once you take 1 minute of one real human time and bring it to the core of everything, economy, human life as it is, and what you have at the, not at the end, I don't want to say at the end, what you have in the future is completely new world with paradigm shifted in a way that everyone has a meaningful life, and instead of being terrified and horrified with millions of young people, and by young people I'm saying not about me or my colleagues, because we are 20 plus, that is not young nowadays. I'm talking about 12, 10-year-olds who did not see the world without a laptop and without the screen. They do not know that internet, there were times without internet. And instead of being horrified with them staring in their screens, we've tried to give something meaningful to them. And what can be more meaningful than 1 minute of one human life?
So,
basically,
the company is called Nemesis, and it's basic, as it was explained to me. We met about 2 months ago. I was very fascinated by this, because what it says is that every person in their lives have value. Every minute of your life has value. And so they give you 1 neem for every minute of your life. So I have now 13,689 neems since I met you. What do I do with 13,689 neems?
Well, first of all, you can see that old is a new rich now. I'm not saying that you are old. I'm just saying that you are rich, basically. And
well,
nowadays,
you're right on the first one. You're not on the second. But
okay, you can buy real stuff, because I did not like to talk about the app, which is the tiniest part of the whole concept, but it is the thing that you can touch. You can. It is tangible, and you can download the app, you can live your life a couple of days, and you can have a cappuccino for 5 minutes from yesterday, or for 5 minutes from someone's yesterday, because the idea is so unbelievably simple and so abstract that it somehow works. And huge minds of mathematicians, economic specialists, I'm a sociologist, cannot beat the idea, and that is why it works.
How many people, you started roughly in the spring, as I recall, right, with your app?
That is the visible part of the story, yeah.
I'm a visual guy, okay? So how many people, how many users do you have now around the world?
We are open in more than 70 countries, but our first million registrations we've got in less than 1 week. And once you start your presentation with these figures, everyone, even most critical minds and disbelievers, start to think, okay, what do I miss here in this world? Because whenever you start with a beautiful idea and the concept that can blow your mind, they say, okay, Next, please. But
That's because
once,
they really short-circuited and blown their minds. They can't handle it. No.
But once you say, okay, philosophy aside, I see you want the numbers. Okay, the numbers are fascinating, and it is just another proof that we live in a completely new world.
But this is very interesting, because at the core of this, what struck me was the philosophy that every minute of a life has value, and that you ascribe a unit of value to that life. You are valuing. It's not like a job where somebody says, "I value your time for this job at $4 an hour, or $40 an hour, or $100,000 a year." You've got this bank account of neems that you can trade and use, etc. And one of the reasons why I invited Ola on the panel today was this struck me as a very interesting idea, especially in developing countries, where you don't have a lot of work, you don't have a lot of jobs, etc. All you need, you need a smartphone, but that's not a big problem anymore either. Am I?
That is exactly the point. Just being alive is profitable. What is the point of living if I do not have the chance to find a good job, or to make my family rich, to grow up my children and give them the proper education? What's the point of it? We know the stories, the horrible stories of Japanese people just giving up everything and going in some enclaves, living just because they did not live to the level they were expected from their societies. As long as every minute is profitable, I don't. Making a suicide is the hugest mistake in terms of economical profit, because as long as I live, I make the profit. And I can, that means that everyone has 24 hours, and nobody, whether Muslim, Christian, or whatever, or disbeliever, cannot beat that idea, because the day starts with the dawn and ends with the sunset, and then we have our nights, and the story goes on and on and on. And once we make the new value standard and put it into infrastructure, the world starts to blow. And that is why I'm not afraid of the future. Come on, we have a nuclear weapon, and everything can just end the next minute.
And on that happy note, we're a little bit tight for time. With this, it's a fascinating concept, almost like a cryptocurrency for likes. But let's take the next video. Thank you.
I didn't grow up with your granny. I think I didn't drink enough milk to understand this. Go ahead. No, let's go have the video. I had a question, but it's okay.
You can ask it. Go ahead.
So, I was just saying, I don't think I drank enough milk, like your granny suggested, to understand this. And so, my question is, how do people's lives change as a result of being on the app or being part of the community? What changes in their lives?
Well, basically, they have the meaning to go on, but on the lower level, they have the basic income. In Finland, they already have that basic income, but why should we measure the income in money, or, I don't know, in golden coins or likes, whatever? The most suitable measure is something that everybody has. And everybody has some time. Some people will be willing to give time for other people. It's in our language. We spend time. It's like we spend money.
So I did a PhD in anthropology. So it sounds like you were maybe a student of Max Weber and the whole idea of meaning as the core of human life. Is that what you're getting at?
That was the part. That was what brought many people into the company. I was inside that part of company members, inside of that part of the team. Somebody is drawn by the beauty of math, beauty of that figures, but what brought me is that Solzhenitsyn and Frankl proved in the previous century.
Logotherapy. So,
yeah.
So you're a student of Viktor Frankl.
Once a human being has meaning, everything is art.
Now you get it.
I get it.
А який склад, сегмент людей з розумом, яким складом найбільше вступають в продовження процесу, який ви показуєте і так далі? Ми говоримо точні науки, інші, от як?
Це абсолютно мультидисциплінарна річ. У нас є і філософи, і антропологи, і математики. У мене ступінь кандидата наук з соціології, але ми точно цікавимося ще й нейрофізіологією, тому що все насправді в голові і всі проблеми від того.
We've got to move on.
Okay.
Next, back to Earth.
No, it's...
Наступне відео. Fascinating stuff. Aside from the details of the company itself, Maketa, how can Ukrainian startups go global? What do we need?
So, so a couple of things I think are needed to go global. So one is, it depends on how you start, right? So one chance to go global is to kind of go and start globally. That's kind of what happened to us. So when we started off, we did a pilot project in Dubai. So our first project wasn't in Ukraine. And in fact, when the company was started, when we looked at the Ukrainian market, we saw that maybe it wasn't quite ready for the things that we had in mind, although there are many events, exhibitions and conferences going on in Ukraine. So I think one of the aspects of going global is really about being able to showcase a product that is required globally. And second of all, being able to communicate that you can work globally and to kind of show that. I think those are two key components, really, in going global.
Interesting. I mean, Oля, you've described how you've gone sort of global in a different way. What about the two of you? How do you see yourselves going global? What do you need? Money.
Land reform.
I think that
land reform. That's right. I've heard that before today. They will come to us, yes. Once or four times.
In terms of ag-tech market and all that global community, I think that we need to understand. First, you need to understand the structure of these markets. So, with Agri-MBA program of Kyiv Mohyla Business School, we went to United States, and actually, when we were there, I took some business models for myself and used them in Ukraine. And this is one market with one structure. With Taiwan Fund of Human Resources Development, we went to Taiwan actually and studied how do they work. So it's completely different market with different philosophy, different concept. So going there, it's like, for our type of companies, it's unbelievable, generally, totally. So what we see now, how we can go globally, of course, it's like product, market, all that stuff, but we need to have partners. In terms of global expansion, we need to have global partners. It's like Syngenta, Bayer's, Monsanto, some global producers. And in terms of our idea, we need to cooperate with some of top 4 audit companies, so who has the name, who has the network.
Right. You need, at the end of the day, you need the credibility on all the compliance
yes. So that's why we need a partner in technology who understands the business,
Right.
and a partner with the name who basically has the credibility. So that's why we can go there.
Daria, very quickly.
Yeah, I believe that the only one thing to be global is to think about your business globally and act in that. So actually, I think that you need, don't be shy and find advisors from your field, and this is a good opportunity to speak with leaders in this field from any other countries. For example, we have partners in Finland, and also we have advisors in USA, and this is a very nice opportunity. And also, I think that the good question, as Artem told, is to find the partner, because every market is different, and when you want to go on that market, if you don't have any experience before, so you need somebody to teach you or to show you how to act in that market. So this is great to have like partners outside.
Okay. I've just got a note that we're just about out of time. Maybe we could have a few closing remarks. Your thoughts, Dr. Kim.
Well, so in trying to get my head around what Olya was saying, here's what I would say. I, as an anthropology graduate student, I studied the consumer culture. And the consumer culture critique is that what consumption is all about is that you empty your life of meaning, and the way you have meaning in your life is by buying things, right? So this is how advertising works, and so many people feel that when you go online, what actually happens is that your life is even more emptied of meaning. And so my understanding is what you're doing is to try to remind people of just how powerfully meaningful their lives are. Is that a approximation of what you... Yeah. So think about that in the context of Ukraine, right? So right now in the world today, what's happening is that people are moving apart, that we're losing the foundation for human solidarity. Everyone is looking inward. They're becoming nativist, they're becoming populist, and they're rejecting the foundations that we had in place for human solidarity. You had something remarkable happen in 2014 in the Revolution of Dignity. It was an uprising and a demonstration of human solidarity that the entire world knew about. And so I would just say that the natural next step is to support young people like this. And I asked Tomasz very seriously, have we invested in these people yet? And if we haven't, we need to start thinking about this. Because not only are they building businesses and creating jobs and helping everyone's lives get better, whether it's through genomics or platform or better agricultural intelligence, but just simply finding meaning, this very well could be the future. That it's not going to be huge factories and industrialization may be taken over by robots. It's going to be the ingenuity and brilliance of young people, and they need to be nurtured and supported through the kind of human solidarity that we saw in Ukraine so powerfully in the Revolution of Dignity. That is going, I think, to be the future, not just of countries like Ukraine, but could be the entire world. So congratulations, and we should see if we can invest in you.
Пане віце-прем'єре, коротенько.
Пане президенте, пане докторе, перш за все хочу вам подякувати за декілька разів згадування цінностей Майдану Революції Гідності. Я як комендант Майдану відчуваю це дуже важливо для мене. Тому що цінності змінили Україну. І цінності зробили за 3 роки такі кроки, які були не зроблені за 22 роки. Друге, я хочу подякувати вам і за вашу віру в майбутнє, за вашу Ви є великими людьми з властивістю людяності. Я хочу бути в вашому майбутньому.
Но деньги вперед.
Я хочу приєднатися до грошей, цінностей часу життя. І третє, я хочу побажати Світовому банку на 50 і на 100 років в такій атмосфері, з таким настроєм відвідувати Україну. Україна дякує вам, і українці дякують вам.
We don't have time for no questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions. Thank you all for coming. I think that was certainly enlightening for me, and I'm very grateful to all of you. And on behalf of the Svitové Bank, the World Bank as well. Thank you very much, folks.
Congratulations.
Thank you.